Yeah, I want to caution people about modifying settings on Spooky2 too much. And I noticed, I know sometimes the settings are getting like little tweaks here and there because I'll put something out and then it'll change a little bit. But I'm going to actually back off from putting out too much because some things are changing a little quickly too on top of it. And, just a little, I don't know, maybe growing pains going on. But they put the newest settings out for this remote with the boost cable. Now there's only one thing, well actually it's up in the air in their opinion more or less too I guess, but I'm going to state flat out where I see what the issue is here but I'm also going to caution you about don't change the settings like arbitrarily, like saying well I think this is better for this reason, and oh man, I don't, you're really getting into things that just follow the directions. But now they got this issue where they're talking about they want people to see what works better for them. But I'm going to tell you flat out, this one thing I pretty much do understand. I've been reading it for a number of years. I got confused about magnet polarity, where they got a thing called bionorth. I never heard that term, but actually when they label these mag pulsars, like this is a Dr. Clark mag pulsar, and they have a Soda Instruments mag pulsar. When they label N, north, that's negative, but that's actually bionorth. In Soda Instruments website, they actually have a very good document to show you everything, But this negative, that's the most important thing. I do know for a fact that almost all the time, there's a couple exceptions, but when you're dealing with microorganisms or pathogens or trying to knock them down, you want to have the negative side facing the body because it's going to work as hindering microorganisms and things like that. So that's important, okay? That's like really, I think it's kind of super important, okay? So now I'm showing a black foam on here, but actually I reversed the magnets. I have bio south, which is also magnetic north, excuse me, God. I have bio north facing down, which is the same as magnetic south on a magnet. But the point is, it's negative. It's negative. Like it's already marked correctly on these panels, because I was reading all these theories about why do you use north, but it's actually bio-north, but I know it's negative energy. And you use that against the skin, you use that for therapy almost all the time. The only time you would use this side, actually I had it marked with black tape, so I don't screw it up because I can actually feel it. You don't use this side. The only time exception where you would actually use this against the body is when there's absolutely no chance of an infection or no infection is present, and you want to have as much stimulation or growth as possible. But almost all the time, you want to use the north side, and what they refer to when north is bio-north. So the only thing I would pretty much wholeheartedly recommend, this is me saying it, not like Spooky2, okay, it's just me. But I have bio-north or magnetic south on the magnet facing down towards the DNA. But I'm going to tell you this, don't go like saying, well, I think something else got to change. I think this, because, well, actually this issue, it's kind of being left up to the user. But I'm pretty adamant on, because I understand about negative goes to the body, negative. And that happens to be either bio-north or magnetic south. Same damn thing. I hate these terms, I really do, because I didn't realize they were like that. I just understood about what side of the paddle to use on the magnetic pulsar. But when they mark a magnetic pulsar N, that means bio-north, but the magnetism itself is actually south. So, but just remember, bio-north faces DNA. That's a good one, okay? But I just want to show you, like, say for instance, these are the recommended settings, and you look on the website because they'll change maybe. I don't know. They could change. But basically it's 20 volts, inverse sync, at F1 to F2. Now I'm using frequency of, I think it's 465 hertz. So it's below 500,000 hertz. It's 11 for the wave multiplier. It's 3 over here and 15 over here for the spike length, and 1 spike count per cycle. Now that's all on the website. I'm going to show. What I'm going to show you is what I'm going to show you on this video is if you deviate from something, you'll see what happens. You don't want to be. I mean, the only thing I'm saying is, and it's actually not going against the grain on what Spooky2 is saying. I'm just saying that, like, they have it up in the air. You can do it either way. I'm just saying, make sure BioNorth faces down on the DNA. I am pretty damn sure about that deal. But this is the standard settings as of, I think, what is it, September 7th, 2014. And these are the correct settings as per the book, as per Spooky2, right? You can double check that by going to their website. So if I click this on, I start it, and we're going to start, and hit start, and we're going to look at the scope. And it makes these waveforms, okay? So what goes on is we have a, well, you can see there's a spike, and then it goes to the harmonic. Like these are 11th harmonic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's like 11 harmonics going on in there. And that's what it is. So I'm going to state this, though. Say, for instance, you decide to play around with the offset. Now, you remember, this is your 0 line, right? You play around with this offset. You say, oh, I'm going to put 100% here. You leave the other one at 0, and you're telling me to use 0% offset. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just saying, if you play it around and you change it, see what happens? It just brings the whole thing up. It doesn't even. You see what's going on? It's a totally different waveform, totally different, and it's not going to 0 as much. That's another thing. It's not varying it as much when it's up here. I don't know if that's a better setting or not, and maybe. But, say for instance, like you would think, you go to minus 100 here because it's a inverse sync. So you want to have minus 100, and you mess around with that. Look what happens. See what happens? So I mean, it's like, you don't want to be doing this type of stuff because people are like. Not looking at now. If you got a scope, it might maybe you've got a little more. I'm not going to play around with these settings. I'm telling you that right now. I'm just going to tell you flat out. If I was going to use, say, Hulda Clark, for instance, and she recommends positive offset, and I'm just going to put this in here for this. I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it simple. Like, say, for instance, I said. Positive offset. I just changed. I leave this like real simple. Change the settings back to the standard default settings. No spike, nothing, right? You'd have one wave up, one wave down, positive with the inverse sync, right? I would not. I mean, I don't even want to say this is the right thing to do, but. This is what I would do. If you change, like if you're using 11th harmonic, and you've got the spike going on and all that type of stuff, and you change the offset to anything other than 0, you're really changing that waveform a lot to something they don't intend at all. It's like you're doing a couple things at once. That's what I'm really trying to point out on here. I mean, the only thing I'm going to actually say that, and it's actually not even like a golden rule. What they're saying is. They're saying it could be, you could do either way or whatever, but I'm saying is BioNorth facing the DNA, just like they would do with this paddle. With all magnetic therapy, it's pretty much always like that. I mean, there's a couple exceptions, but when you're addressing microbes, BioNorth, which is synonymous with the term magnetic south, faces the body. And it's negative. It's negative. The field at the BioNorth pole or the geographic north pole or magnetics, which is actually magnetized south, the field is actually negative. Okay, this explains it good. But that's the only thing. If you change one other thing on these settings with this 11th harmonic, and you decide, oh, I'm going to throw in, you know, a different duty cycle and everything, it's like the whole thing goes wacky. I mean, you're really changing what they're telling you to do. And, you know, you don't want to, I'll just show you here now. I basically went back to the standard plain Jane settings when I was saying, oh, say we're going to run something, hold it Clark, and I put inverse sync and just 100% on out 1 and minus 100% on out 2, inverse sync with the boost cable. Clicking on, loads the waveforms. It's going to basically do just like that. There's the 0, and it jumps up. Now this thing is actually straight, because actually my little, what do you call it here, probe needs to have the adjustment. You know, that's why it's got a slight curvature there, if you noted that. But that's not the program doing that. It's my adjustment on the probe. But here, you know, say you're going to run a hold of Clark, right? And you say, oh, I have to run positive offset because you know, it's hold the Clark said, run positive offset and all this. Well, that's positive offset as she said. Okay, it just goes 0 to 100% positive offset. It doesn't go below the 0 volts line. And that's just like a real plain Jane setting, right? It's just, you know, nothing. It's just a plain simple square wave. It's inverse sync. And since it's inverse sync, you can say 100% on the 1 and a minus 100% on the 2, because it's inverse sync. So if you put a minus 100% on out 2, since it's going inverse, it's actually adding the 2 together. And that's, you know, it's flipping a offset around the other way. Actually, if I'm going to run a hold the Clark setting, I'll do that. You know, I mean, but if you just change, like, you know, if you just modify one thing and what they're recommending, you're really rewriting the book, and it's not going to, I don't know, it's not what they're intending you to do. So the normal settings are 11th harmonic if it's below 500,000 on a hertz, 0% offset, alright, positive spike count 1, this wave multiplier is 3, I don't know why it's 3, but it's 3, and then this spike length is 15. So you have a spike, right, 1 spike per cycle, and then when you run that, I don't think they're, you know, I'm hoping I'm not confusing anybody on this deal, but there's your spike, there's your harmonic, and if you change anything, like say for instance, you decide, well, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to change the duty cycle to, I don't know, 88%. Excuse me, wow, yeah, I'm tired. I don't even know what that's going to do, but let's, because, you know, I mean, I'm just telling you that when they make a recommendation, now look at that. What the hell is that? That's your duty cycle, right? That's your wave. I mean, actually, I don't know what the hell it's doing. But I mean, I'm just throwing something in there like people are doing, and I'm not saying that people can do what they want. I mean, but I'm just telling you, it's not what they're telling you to do. Okay? So if they say 50% duty cycle and offset is 0, when they're running this 11th harmonic into positive spikes, that's what you do. Excuse me, wow. And there it is. So it spikes up, and then it does its harmonic. That's how they designed it. Now, the only thing I'm saying is, and actually they're not telling you one way or the other like gospel, I'm saying is make sure that bio north faces the DNA. I think that's pretty important. So anyway, over and out.